The following is a presentation of the Dragon Sports Network.
You're looking live at Bill Manning Field, deep in the heart of Ouachita County, where tonight, in the 2021 season opener, Class 2A number 3 Junction City tangles with Class 3A number 10 Camden Harmony Grove in a South Arkansas battle. And as always, we've got all the action for you live here from start to finish in year number 9 of the Dragon Sports Network. Good evening, I'm Jacob Pumphrey, and I'm joined alongside Wayne Pumphrey, and we are once again excited to be bringing you Junction City football exclusively on the Dragon Sports Network. And I tell you what, Wayne, we talk about this every year, and every year it's worth mentioning once again. That first Friday in football season, when you wake up, man, it just feels a little bit different.
Yes, sir, it does. I know this morning I got up and I was like, man, I am ready to get this rolling. I mean, I am ready. And everybody I've talked to, it's like this year, I think after what we went through last year, everybody's ready for some football. They're excited. I know I am. We got up here and we got talking about the credit card game and all that and got me fired up all over again. It's been 15 years. I need to let it go. But, hey, Harmony Grove, Junction City, to start things off, you can't beat it.
You really can't. We are just about 6.5 minutes to the opening kickoff of the 2021 season. And, Wayne, when you get to thinking about these two teams, specifically Junction City and what they're going to be able to do this season, it's going to be kind of I don't want to say a new-look Junction City team, but it's going to be a roster that we're not accustomed to seeing. Only 27 players going to be dressed out tonight here in the season opener.
Talking with Coach Smith, I know on the coach's show he addressed the fact that, hey, these guys, conditioning is important. But something to consider is this. As soon as the Desart game was over with in the 2020 state semifinals, the off-season started for Junction City that Monday. And it has not let up. It went into summer workouts where he pulled back some. And this was something that a lot of people, I had a couple of people, I told them what he said, and they said, really? I mean, you would want, he said, no, we don't want to wear them down. These guys are working. They're working hard. The reason they're doing that is like Smith told us, I'm going to put 11 at a time out there. We're going to go with what we got, and we're going to be okay with it. But it is a small roster. One of the biggest concerns for the coaches is the injury bug. They got to avoid it at all costs, and there's certain positions they're concerned about in terms of if there was an injury, what would we do? But right now, it's the start of the season, so we ain't got to cover that just yet.
You're right, and like you said, Wayne, you can only play 11 at one time.
That's
so,
right.
Hey, Coach Smith's going to put the 11 out there on both sides of the ball and on special teams that he thinks gives him the best chance of win in that moment, and that's what we're going to go with here as the captains make their way to the middle of the field for Junction City in that vaunted number 3 jersey. Will be Jay Johnson. And for Camden Harmony Grove, wearing the black tops with the gold numbers, will be number 53, Logan McCann, the senior defensive end. Definitely one of those key members of a defense that didn't lose too many from a team that made a pretty good run a year ago, Wayne. But they are a little bit inexperienced in the secondary. It'll be interesting to see if Junction City can take advantage of that.
Well, I know yesterday, I spent half the day on the phone talking with folks around the state, just, getting ready for football, calling, they're talking about stuff. And I mentioned Harmony Grove. And like I said on game night, they're in some polls, they're cracking the top 10. They're being looked at. But there were people, Jacob, that I talked to that said, man, these guys need to be higher. This needs to be at least a top 5, number 5 and number 6 team. They got talent. 2 guys to keep an eye on, Tobias Hicks, number 1, running back, linebacker, number 8, Daniel.
You're right, Wayne. Those are 2 of the reasons why people think they need to be up there in the top 5, top 6 in the Class 3A state rankings. Junction City has won the toss. They have elected to receive, so we will see from that Junction City offense here to start the 2021 campaign. Again, Jacob Pumphrey alongside Wayne Pumphrey, and we are once again excited to be bringing you Junction City football on the Dragon Sports Network. It's year number 9. If you can believe it or not, Wayne, they've let us on the airwaves and on the internet for 8 previous seasons. I don't know how we've pulled it off.
It's one of the greatest mysteries of mankind, I think, Junction City football. We're about to witness the start of the 112th season. And I'm pretty sure when they kicked it off, wherever they kicked it off at back in 1910, they didn't have a DSN or anything there.
I guarantee you they didn't. As, like you said, Wayne, the 112th team in program history has taken the field, and we are just moments away from kickoff to the 2021 season. 24th meeting all time between these two teams. Junction City holds the series advantage 13-10, but the Hornets have won the last two matchups. In fact, the last Junction City win came in 2018, and that was a thriller to start that season. 52-50.
Absolutely.
Junction City took that one in overtime down in the border town.
Well, this rivalry, and you can call it that, it's came in spurts. You know, they played so many years, they take a break, they come back and play, sometimes in conference, sometimes not in conference, stuff like that. And this year, they both of these teams coming in ranked in the top 10. Like I said, Dragons number 3, Harmony Grove number 10. It's a good sign that these two programs, you know, they're consistent every year.
A little bit of if you're seeing the heavy fog or the smoke, I should say, Harmony Grove took the field with kind of some smoke bombs. That was kind of their entrance here to the 2021 season. You know what they say, Wayne, where there's smoke, there's fire, and I hope the Dragons are going to bring plenty of that tonight here from Bill Manning Field. Deep in the heart of Ouachita County, the ball is on the tee. Both teams are ready, and we are seconds away from kicking off this 2021 season. To kick it away, Tyler McCann, the sophomore, and back deep for Junction City, Jay Johnson and Corey DeBow. I think they're kind of waiting for the smoke to clear a little bit. Definitely not the first time we've encountered any type of smoke or issues on the Dragon Sports Network. We've had fireworks and
everything else.
Helicopters and fog and you name it.
And some of it completely unnecessary, but that's the way it is, you know.
As the field lights are starting to make their way on. Wind will not be a factor tonight. Old Glory resting nicely in the northeast corner of the end zone. 84 degrees here at kickoff. Perfect night for football in South Arkansas.
And I believe we're about ready to go.
McCann with it teed up. And again, they're letting the smoke kind of drift off there toward the far side of the end zone.
Yeah, that'll and we're still waiting. I mean, now here we go. I think
should
we're
be
ready
good to go
check.
now.
Yeah, now
we
we're
should
ready.
be good to go. We've played in thicker fog than that. Here we
Yeah.
go. McCann's got it lined up. Ball's at the 40-yard line. Going to be kicked from the near hash. Again, the returners Johnson and DeBow back for Junction City. And it's going to be somewhat of a deep kick taken by DeBow. At about the 11-yard line, he'll work up the middle of the field, move back toward the Junction City sideline. He'll be wrapped up by two defenders. First one on the scene for the Hornets was Jeremiah Morgan, the senior linebacker, and that's where Junction City's got it. First down and 10, as we see from the Dragon offense for the first time this season, Wayne.
Jay Johnson will be your quarterback. Jacob, Coach Smith talked about he will be running the main part of the offense. However, expect to see plenty of the Wild Dragon, and that will be Corey DeBow running it.
Junction City's going to break the huddle. And for the first play from scrimmage here in the 21 season, they'll run twin receiver set to the top of the formation, two receivers down to the bottom. Johnson will work out of the backfield, Ivory to his left. They fake to Ivory. Johnson will keep it on the ground, runs through one arm tackle, runs through a second arm tackle, lowers his shoulder, and moves across the first down marker. That's going to be a gain of 12. And the first play from scrimmage, Wayne, results in a first down. It looks like Jay Johnson's picked up where he left off last season.
Two of the players that Smith mentioned, and I'm talking with them afterwards. You know, sometimes you can get more out of Coach once you get them off the microphone. But he was real pleased with Johnson and Ivory's workouts, getting ready, the commitment they showed, and all that.
Now DeBow will go back to the quarterback position. He'll take the snap. They'll fake to Johnson. DeBow will run behind a blocker, breaks one tackle, but he's going to be wrapped up in the backfield, unable to get much further after that initial contact. So it'll be a gain of, they'll say no gain, so bring up second down and 10. So right there, Wayne, we see kind of a little bit of the variety Junction City can throw at teams with the way they line up in the backfield.
And the Dragons also, one of the things that people have questioned, how, you know, passing attack. You got a few weapons to work with. Who's going to be the primary passer? And I think yet to be determined how they're going to handle that.
And again, shotgun back to both sides of DeBow. They give to Ivory, and he lost his footing in the backfield. Looks like the turf just came out from under him. And so he's actually going to lose the yard on that carry. So after a 12-yard play on first down, it's a gain of no yards and then a loss of 1. So it's going to be 3rd down and 11. Junction City behind the chains here. Moving right to left. The typical purple helmet, white jerseys, purple pants. Harmony Grove with the white helmet, black jersey and pants. And we've got whistles pre-snap. It's going to be a false start. Dragons were moving early, so that's going to
kind of get the rust knocked off all the cliches you want to use right there.
Ball spotted at the middle of the field, 31-yard line. And it'll be Johnson in at quarterback. A.J. Ivory will be the back to his right. 2 receivers to the right. A twin set to the left. To the left is Jacob Smith and Jacurian Key. And they take the snap. Johnson to throw off his back foot. Completes to DeBow on the screen play. Going to be wrapped up after a gain of, we'll call it 5. Actually, give him 6. He'll get back to the original line of scrimmage, and it'll bring up a 4th down and 10 here for Junction City. So decision time for the Dragons. And it looks like they're going to run a couple more men on the field, make some changes. Looks like that's going to be the punt team. And so Junction City, after a quick start with a 12-yard carry from Jamal Johnson, they're going to have to punt it away here on 4th down. We'll call it 9.5. Ball spotted at the 37-yard line. High snap. It's going to be a respectable punt. It'll be fielded at about the 34-yard line. So that's where we will see the Junction City defense go to work as Harmony Grove has it 1st down and 10 from the 34. And so, Wayne, your Junction City showed some early promise there with that first play from scrimmage, but then kind of stepped on themselves before the drive ended up in a punt.
And you kind of could expect that out of, first game of the season and all the stuff. Like I say, you can use all the cliches there. You're knocking the rust off, all of that. But what I want to say real quick, Christopher Norman coming in the punt had a big year last year delivering punts when we really needed them, and a nice one there.
And flag on the play. And it's going to be encroachment on Junction City. Actually, I guess a neutral zone infraction. Junction City lined up in the neutral zone. Not sure the number.
Penalty against Junction City. Encroachment.
Yeah, the encroachment penalty for the Dragons. So it's going to give the Hornets an easy 5 there right out of the gate.
5-yard penalty makes it 1st down and 5.
Caleb Johnson, the sophomore quarterback, he led the junior high team to a pretty good year last season. He'll operate the offense here on 1st down and 5, and the carry is going to be for about, we'll call it 3 yards. Should bring up 2nd down and 2 for Harmony Grove. Moving left to right. And for Junction City, looks like they're going to employ the old 50 defense, old 52, yep. 5 down front, 2 linebackers. Norman in at linebacker, Chance Rowland in at linebacker. Dragons lost 5 linebackers last season to graduation. They got 2 guys back that had some pretty good experience last year. And again, another penalty by the Dragons, pre-snap penalty, and that's going to give the Hornets a 1st down. So they've gotten 10 yards without having to take a snap.
Yeah, you got to. I know you're anxious, you're ready to go, but you got to play a little smart there. One of the good things coming out of the Hamburg scrimmage, Jacob, that was talked about was the defense. A lot of question marks going into this season about it, but the Hamburg scrimmage looked really, really good.
1st and 10, snap is low. It's going to be corralled, sprint out to the right, and the pass is complete right at the marker. I believe he will have enough for the 1st down. Signal not given immediately. Going to look at the spot as they bring it up to the middle of the field.
It's about a yard shy.
Going to be about a yard shy. DeBow on the tackle. And it was Johnson who had to handle the low snap. Play design was a sprint out right, and he was able to find his intended receiver. I believe he hooked up with Jalen Thrower. Thrower, that's a familiar last name around these parts.
Yes,
Split
sir.
back. Ball's on the ground. I'm not sure who come away with it. Several Dragons are pointing to that it's Junction City football. And it's Junction City football. Nicely done by the Dragons. Kevin Newberry, the big senior, coming up with the fumble recovery, and it's Junction City football. They force a turnover on the Hornets' first drive of the night, and they're going to have the ball at their own 47-yard line. Snap, give, goes to Ivory. He's going to run right up the middle, and that's going to be a strong 9 from A.J. Ivory. Moves across midfield, down across the 45, spot him at the 44. I tell you what, Wayne, that's just a lot of power there from Ivory.
Keep this in mind, with DeBose running the Wild Dragon, you got Corey and then you got Jay Johnson that can swing it to the outside.
Johnson takes the snap. He's going to keep it. He's going to be wrapped up and dropped for a loss in the backfield, loss of about just a yard. So it'll bring up 3rd down and 2 as the ball moves back to the 45-yard line. Hill on the stop for Harmony Grove. That's one thing you see at these small classifications, Wayne. You're going to see guys impacting on both sides of the football. They're going to get John offense.
Total of 4 already, and we're just a little over halfway through the first quarter.
That's going to move the football back to the middle of the field. 3rd down and 7 for Junction City. 5:29 to play here in the opening quarter. Scoreless from Bill Manning Field. And they fake the snap to Ivory. Johnson's going to keep it, and the Hornets read that one easily. Daniel Hill, the senior. You'll see him carry the football a lot tonight, but he was in on the stop of his counterpart in the backfield, Johnson, and so Junction City, another loss on a carry. It'll bring up 4th down and 8 now. And again, Wayne, we saw what we see, a 9-yard run from Ivory. It puts them at 2nd and 1. Now they find themselves at a 4th down and 8, back in their own territory at the 48. You had plenty of time. You had plenty of time to pick it up, and you might even have a chance to run with it. Norman's very athletic young man. He might have had a chance to at least run with it before he punts it away. Nobody was within 10 yards of him, but he falls on it, and it's going to be excellent field position here for the Hornets, as the ball is going to be spotted at the Junctions, just inside the Junction City 25. We'll call it the 24. They'll operate from the right hash.
Yeah, the Hornets sitting real pretty here. The first big break of the game goes to Harmony Grove.
Mental mistake there by the Dragons. Johnson to work out of the shotgun. And he's going to be pressured up the middle, nowhere to go. Norman's going to help make up.
Good rush. The containment was real good.
Job by that front 5 right there. Like you said, Wayne, the defensive ends did a good job of keeping the action. And Johnson bundled up, and then the big fellows up front were able to get there. Norman from his linebacker spot. Hornets break the huddle. Hill to the left of Johnson. Edwards to the right. Edwards gets the call. He's tripped up in the backfield. That's Austin Mendoza with the tackle. And so quickly, Harmony Grove facing a 3rd down behind the chains. Ball's just inside the 30th-yard line.
One thing Harmony Grove is, they showed in some of their preseason practice scrimmages, they're very good at throwing. They're not uncomfortable doing it, I guess what I'm saying. They're not uncomfortable throwing the ball, so the Dragons need to be ready here.
And they're going to throw here on 3rd down. Over the middle, incomplete, knocked away. That was Corey DeBose getting his hand in there to knock it away from the intended receiver. That was the senior Austin McDonald. And you're going to probably have to do it one more time, because you got to think this is kind of that no man's land here, where you're going to have to, Harmony Grove is most likely going to go for it.
I believe so. You don't see very many teams pooch kicking it no more, trying to play a little position. If we don't get it here, we're okay. We got them backed up on their end. They can afford to take the chance.
Yeah, you can certainly live where the drive would start if you're unable to convert here. So 4th down and 14. Johnson to work out of the shotgun. Hill to his right. Johnson's going to sprint away from the protection. He's going to look back. Now he's in trouble, and he's going to throw on the run. Fires one up, and it is incomplete. Incomplete, intended for Titus Lockhart, the senior wide receiver on the coverage for Junction. You see a lot of both of us by in the early going of the season.
No, that's the one thing about it. You don't press the alarm here. Oh, my God. Tribute to it's the first game. Let's get the jitters out.
Maybe ready to maybe just give them a chance to catch their breath here. We're going to step aside. We'll be back in 30 seconds. This is Junction City Football on the Dragons Sports Network. Possessions here. Let both teams get to the sideline, get some water. It is a muggy night here in South Arkansas. We're all too familiar with that. Field scoreless between Class 2A number 3 Junction City and Class 3A number 10 at Camden Harmony Grove. The Dragons, their third drive of the night. They had 19 yards. If you count up the first play of both drives, 19 yards. If you count up the remaining yards, it might not even be positive, Wayne,
I'm
because
afraid
some of the miscues. But they're going to, coming out of the break here, they're going to run a trips formation out to the right. It's going to be DeBose, Allen, and Smith. And the snap is going to go to Johnson. Ivory trucks a man, and he's going to have a gain of about 15 yards right out of the chute. Give him 14 as he falls across the 45. They're going to mark him down at the 44-yard line. And again, a first play, a big first play of the drive, the longest play of the night for Junction City.
Jacob, you mentioned they had trips on the side. You had a single over here. They spreading that defense out. When you do that, you got the holes.
Dragons getting creative. And again, with the creativity comes a little bit of a miscue on the offense. It's going to be a false start. They ran the trips formation out with DeBose behind the trips formation, kind of a little bit of a wall. We're going to throw the screen to him. That's something we saw Junction City run a lot last year and had pretty good success with it.
Oh, yeah, like bubble screen and stuff like that.
First time they've run it this year, and obviously got a little bit too antsy there. And again, that's the fifth penalty of the evening, sixth penalty of the evening for Junction City.
And Jacob, they were kind of wanting to speed it up. You kind of like to see them just kind of slow it down just a hair more and kind of get settled in.
And again, they'll work out the trips to the right side, but Ivory's going to get the call, and hard running from A.J. Ivory. He's going to pick up, I believe, the 5 they lost on the previous penalty, so it'll bring it back to the original line of scrimmage, which is going to be the 44-yard line of Junction City. 2nd down and 10. Clock's going to run under 1:45 before the next snap. Still scoreless here in the season opener between two familiar foes here in South Arkansas, Junction City and Camden Harmony Grove. 24th meeting all time between these two teams. And that's going to be Johnson up the middle. He runs through a couple of arm tackles. He's going to pick up a first down on a gain of in left. Johnson scans the defense, barks out some orders to the twin set to the far side of the field. He's going to move Ivory from the left to the right. And he's going to throw here. Good pass there. That's going to be Smith, and he's going to pick up what he can. Good hands there from the senior Jacob Smith. Nothing fancy there, but it's going to be we'll call it 6, 2nd down and 4. Nicely done there from number 2.
And I love that play call, Jacob. I like what Smith did when he caught it. It wasn't no fancy juke jive or nothing. I'm going to just take it straight.
Just get upfield.
Now you have to respect that. What I was going to say a while ago, when they start spreading out the field like that, Harmony Grove was starting to ease more guys into the box. When you got a bruiser like Ivory coming through, he breaks through that initial line, you got trouble.
And they're going to give to Ivory. Ivory, he's going to pick up a first down on 2nd down and 4, and he is hard to get down, Wayne. I'll go ahead and tell you now.
Yes.
11 minutes and counting, 34 seconds into this season, and I can already tell you A.J. Ivory is going to be a hard tackle this season.
Oh, amen. There's no doubt about it. And, Jacob, like we said a while ago, if you get through those initial lines of the down line and the linebackers, if they don't get the tackle on him, he's in the secondary causing problems real quick, and there's not going to be much help in the secondary because you're committing a lot up front.
Should be the final play of the first quarter. They're going to give on the ground. That's Mendoza. He's met at the line of scrimmage. Actually, they're going to credit him with a yard. Actually, give him 2. Austin Mendoza, hard running right up there up the middle, and that'll do it for the first quarter of play. Timeout on the field. Scoreless here from Bill Manning Field between Junction City and Camden Harmony Grove, but the Dragons are driving. We're going to step aside back in 60 on the Dragon Sports Network. Dick.
We're ready to start the second quarter here at Bill Manning Field in Harmony Grove, Arkansas. 0-0 our score. Dragons on the move. And Jacob, you mentioned them a while ago. We've been talking about Ivory. Just about the time you get ready to settle in and keep an eye on Ivory, you still got Johnson and the boy to deal with.
That's right. We've got our own weather. We've got our own weather formation here, and developing with the boys from the border town, Thunder and Lightning. That's really what you have. You got just the pound and ground from Ivory, and then you got a little bit more shiftiness out of Johnson. Now, don't get you wrong, Ivory can definitely scoot. He's got a little bit of a motor, and Johnson will lower his shoulder and run you over too. So they both have a little bit of each other in their running styles. To start the second, the dial-down box, we'll call it third down and a long 4.5 for Junction City. Finds themselves in Hornet territory. Ball spot at the 26-yard line, under 11.5 to play before the intermission. Still scoreless, but the Dragons looking to keep this drive alive, and it's going to be a spot-out pass to DeBose. He's going to try to have to beat a man to the corner, and I don't know if I think he might have gotten there, Wayne. I think he might have gotten there. Hopefully they give him the spot. Looks like he was going to go out of bounds.
If they give him the spot,
that's going to be awfully close.
But if he don't, he's right on it. The guy had the angle on
and they're going to give him the first down.
But it looked like he got it. Of course, like I said, our angle's not good, but
credit to Bose's speed there. He was able to just outrun him to the first down marker. Nicely done there by Corey Thompson. And it'll be DeBose to work out of the shotgun. Ivory to his right, Johnson to his left. DeBose will keep it. He lowers his shoulder, and he's going to pick up a solid 3. They may give him 4, and I think they do. They give him 4 on the carry by Corey DeBose, and that was certainly a design run there
Corey DeBose on the carry
for the junior. And now DeBose will move back out to a wide receiver position. He'll join Allen in a twin set. It'll be Smith and Key out to the left. Ivory will set to the left of Johnson, who's in the shotgun. Quick snap, and they give to Ivory. Moves behind one block, but there were several Hornets in the backfield before that play could really develop. And that's been one of the keys for, I guess I shouldn't say one of the keys as the season's just starting, Wayne, but one of the keys that people are relying on, or I guess that they're looking at that Harmony Grove's going to have, is going to be their defensive front.
Their defensive front, you see them at times that they get beat on the blocks, and you get a big gainer by like Ivory. But most of the time they have been solid, and it is going to be something they're going to rely on throughout the season.
And I believe they're going to be. I saw a man
Grove first, but I think
it's going to be on the right side of the Dragon offensive line there. That's going to back Junction City up 5, and that was going to be a little bit of an easier third down attempt to try to convert. Now it's going to back them up behind the chains. They'll be third down and 12. And Johnson will work out of the shotgun. Looks to his left, takes the snap, and again, pre-snap penalty.
Lord.
And it's going to be another false start. And another 5 back for Junction City. Third down and 17. So they convert on third down to keep the drive alive, and then you turn around and you look, and it's third down and 17 as we near the 9-minute mark here of the first half. Dragon's going to need 17 to keep the drive going. He's got Allen down the right side of the field, down the sideline. Pass falls incomplete.
Pass falls incomplete. Number 11, Ryan Allen, the intended receiver on the play. Fourth down coming up for Junction
That was
City.
intended for Ryan Allen. He's out for football for his senior year. He was definitely had nobody around him, just overthrown. A little too much there from Johnson. I'd like to think, though, as the season progresses, you'd like to see him get a little bit more finesse on that throw, especially when you got a guy like Allen with his speed and as wide open as he was. 4th and 17. Johnson rolls out. He's going to throw back across his body, and the pass is incomplete, intended for Key. And really nothing developing there. If Key had caught it, he still would have needed a couple of yards in double coverage to pick up the first down. Pass falls incomplete, and with 9 minutes exactly to play here in the second quarter, we're still scoreless from Bill Manning as the Hornets will now take over on offense. So struggling.
Yes, and it goes back to what we talked about. You'll have a play, 8, 9, even 11-yard gain, then a yards lost play, and then the penalties seem to just start showing up.
40, 30, 20. He's got one man that could catch him, and he won't, and Johnson will take it into the end zone for the touchdown. That's going to be a 72-yard run by Caleb Johnson. A little bit of that RPO, Wayne. He just faked to the back, kept it right up over the left side, made a couple of men miss at about that second level, and then it was a foot race.
Foot race all the way. He did a real good job. Like you said, RPO. He started out with the handoff, faking it, and it drew him in, and then he just made his move.
Handles the kickoff duties as well. He's got it lined up. And that's going to be a false start there on the Hornets, so it's going to make it a tad bit more difficult for McCann. They're going to have to back it up. It'll be a little bit more of a lengthy extra point attempt here. Blame him.
Yeah.
Snap back, ball down, and the kick is 5 to play in the before the intermission. Excuse me. Harmony Grove strikes first. We're back in 60 seconds. The Dragon Sports Network. A 72-yard run from sophomore quarterback Caleb Johnson. That's the difference so far in this one. 7-0's our score. Camden Harmony Grove on top of Junction City. 8:45 to play before the intermission. McCann with it teed up from the far side of the field from the 40. And back deep for the Dragons, DeBose. And it'll be picked up by, got to get on it. That's going to be Johnson. It's going to pick it up at about they'll be moving left to right. 8.5 to play here in the second quarter. And so, Wayne, we've seen some positive things out of that Dragon offense. You just want to see them be able to string it together and find the end zone.
Exactly. You know, the first couple of drives, there was a few good plays. Then it seemed like everything just come to a stop. You need now some consistency out of your offense here and take it all the way in. They did good on the last drive till they got down to about the 20.
DeBose starts the drive as the quarterback, and they're going to get a false start for Junction City.
More flags on the field.
And I believe that is the 8th false start penalty for the Dragons tonight.
How many total penalties we get? It's got to be
going to be 11.
I
I believe
so.
it's going to be 11 total penalties for Junction City.
8.5 minutes left in the second quarter. We got 11 penalties already. Goodness gracious.
And again, a false start penalty for the Dragons. And you're starting to see some frustration out of that Junction City offense. And that's going to back up the Dragons all the way back inside the 15. Mark it at the, I believe that's the 13. And the Dragons going to work out of the shotgun. Johnson now in at quarterback. Going to take the snap. It's going to be a quick pass out to DeBose, and he's going to have a minimal gain. Call it about 4 yards. Should make it about 2nd down and 16, as the clock will probably near the 8-minute mark before the next snap.
Now, you hate to see a drive start out like this one started out, but what you're looking for now is just picking up some yards and then
make it a manageable 3rd down.
Right, make it manageable for 3rd down.
2nd down and 16. Ball spotted inside the 20 of Junction City. A couple of players looking at the play on the wristband. They're going to get set. Johnson's going to operate out of the shotgun. Ivory to his right. They fake to Ivory. Johnson's going to run behind the block of the big back. And he, again, another small gain, but yet a gain nonetheless. We'll take what we can get at this time. Actually, it's going to be a gain of about, we'll call it about 6, Wayne. Should bring up actually 5, bring up 3rd down and 9 as they get it just inside the original line of scrimmage. So 3rd and 9, draft minutes to play here in the second quarter.
they got some seams downfield on the pass that would easily come open.
And that's DeBose. They're going to run the bubble screen. He makes a man miss, still on his feet.
He got it.
And he's going to be awfully close. And
yeah, he got it.
I think that's what Coach Hutchinson's saying. He's still in the chain game that they moved those chains a little early because that ball was spotted at the 24. It's at the 34. That might have deserved a measurement, but hey, you know, the home cooking goes in favor of the visitors here. We'll definitely not saying they're home cooking, but you know what I'm saying? Like they moved it pretty quick. But first down for the Dragons. They're going to give to Ivory, hard running up the middle. That's going to be a solid 7 from A.J.
Look at their secondary. They're walking the people up again, and you got single coverage on the outside. You got one safety in the middle of the field, and he's got to commit to watching for the run plus, the rest of the field. The seams are there. Look, the seams are there for a big play.
They're going to fake to Ivory. Johnson's going to run through one-arm tackle. He's still on his feet. Not much to do there, but he's still going to make it about a gain of about 1.5 yards, so it's going to make it very manageable here on third down. Third down and just inside 2 yards to convert. Dragons at the 43-yard line. They're moving left to right. I don't know if you can hear it behind us, folks, but the old 8 p.m. Union Pacific rolling through.
Yes, sir. Make you want to hear a Johnny Cash song about now with Merle Haggard.
5:31 clock ticking here. Bill Manning Field, deep in the heart of Ouachita County. These two teams very familiar with each other. 24th meeting all time. And it's going to be just a direct snap right up the middle, and I believe he got enough leaning forward.
Quarterback keeper by number 3, Jay Johnson.
And that's going to reset the chain, so Junction City, just more of a methodical approach here, Wayne. Back-to-back third down conversions, and they've got it 1st and 10 from their own 45. Here's the clock will be under 5 minutes before the next snap.
And you just want to keep it going. You know, you'd like to see get that 6, 7, even 8-yard gain on that first down like they've done a couple times. Like to see them keep doing that.
And it's going to be another spot-out pass and wrapped up around the head. No whistles there, trying to get it to DeBose. And they must see something out there with the way they're lining up defensively. They keep definitely trying to hit the bubble, which DeBose has made. I'll tell you what, when catching the bubble tonight, Wayne, he's made more happen than's actually been there. Seems like he's kind of got guys in his face immediately. You can kind of tell he's a little winded at the moment.
Now, I've been kind of studying the play calling here. I wonder if JT don't have something up his sleeve.
That's what I'm saying. I think he keeps seeing something. If you remember that into that Desert game last year, I think we're all familiar with what baiting can do. As Ivory gets the call on 2nd and 9, he's going to get it up to the midfield stripe, and that should bring it to 3rd down and 5, so a gain of 4 from A.J. And the drive keeps ticking along. 4:14, 4:13. Clock running here from Bill Manning Field. Junction City ranked number 3 in most polls throughout the state. As we mentioned in the pregame show, Camden Harmony Grove has found themselves in the top 10, around that 10th spot in a couple of polls, and in the top 15 in the other ones. Johnson, he's going to keep it, and he's met in the backfield, nowhere to go. I tell you what, you got to think the Hornets are starting to read that, especially they've used Ivory as the big block a couple of times, especially on this drive. That was Hicks coming in to make the stop for the Hornets. And now with it 4th down, and we'll call it 7. Norman back to punt it away for Junction City. Good snap. Norman, plenty of time. Guy shows late, and that one's going to bounce. And good coverage down there. Got to get on it, though. Got to get on it, and he will inside the 5. Actually, excuse me, it's hard to see. You got to have some of Grandma's thick specs to be able to see those yard markers, Wayne. That's going to be down inside the 10 at about the 8-yard line.
Yeah, it's when we got here, Jacob. First thing we did is, well, they need to paint the field here, get it ready, and got to looking, and it is. And I'm like, goodness, you know, that you could barely make out the yard markers. But again, Norman picking up where he left off last year. Another good punt that he knows how to get for some way or another. He can get that roll.
Hey, specialists are weapons too now. And definitely a weapon there as he's pinning back inside the 10 at around the 8-yard line. 1st down and 10. And they're going to work out of the shotgun. Junction City's going to play it straight, and they're going to give to the back. He'll work up the middle over right guard. Not sure who that was. I believe that was Hill on the carry for the Hornets. Daniel Hill, a senior running back.
About 5 on the game, Jake.
Be 2nd down and 5, so they move out of the shadows of their own goal post. Going to put the football, I believe, at around the 15-yard line. Actually, we'll call it the 14. They'll break the huddle. 2 receivers to the left. Single man to the top of the 4. Move to the right side. He's going to be off for the races, but we do have a flag down in the backfield, and that's usually a good sign, Wayne, because I think only around one, really only one call can be right there, and you got to think that's going to be a holding call.
Yeah, then they're not coming down the field. They're waiting on everybody to come back. Yep. But then
it was I believe was it a chop? Well, that's not. I mean, that's not necessarily.
That Hornet touchdown was sponsored by JDC Tree.
I'm a little. I didn't see the initial call. I
didn't,
thought I saw
when I first saw him, he pointed toward the Harmony Grove end zone, but he may have been talking about something for all I know. But
86-yard run. Daniel Hill, I believe it was Hill, or was it Hicks?
Yeah, it was Hill, I believe.
Regardless, he went 86 in a hurry.
Yep.
And we got a false start. There's the flag. As much as they've called it tonight, I was hoping they'd call it there.
Extra point, no good, but there is a flag on the field.
And so if I'm Junction City, I decline it if they're going to allow the play to stand.
And I believe they're going to.
they're going to. So it should be.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
waiting.
they're going to. Yeah, they're 0 back in 30 on the draft. The 13-0. 2 carries, really 86 for the second score. First extra point was good. The second one was not, and that's the difference, as I mentioned just moments ago. 13-0.
12.
And Wayne, I know it's been a couple of months since we've called football, but do you know why they would have kicked it off from midfield right then? If the penalty was on Harmony Grove?
You just took. I'm standing here thinking, okay, I thought the call was against them a while ago, and they said no, it's a touchdown, it's on us. And I'm going, they're kicking off from midfield, but if the penalty's
good of a job.
I guess because I don't want to be called to them and leave it alone.
After the incompletion, 2nd down and 10, they fake to Ivory. Johnson, he's hemmed up in the backfield, nowhere to go. Not much movement up front from the Junction City offensive line. Solid initial contact, but unable to stay with the blocks after that. So the Dragons struggling here offensively late here in the second quarter. 1:49, clock ticking. Dragons down 2 touchdowns. Johnson making some changes at the line of scrimmage. And they're going to throw a pass up. It's going to be Allen. It's going to be picked off at about the 49-yard line. That's caught by Landon Garrett. He's going to work back to the Harmony Grove sideline, and he is taking defense.
Stood to play. It was double cut.
Allow back in 30 on the Dragon Sports Network. Clock reset. Actually, maybe it's one of those deals where you take.
Then it down to reset it.
Trying to figure out 111 there.
There we go.
Really dominated by passes complete, and a good job there. And that was Junction City. He's going to be pressured, and now Camden Harmony Grove is going to call a timeout with 33 seconds left. We'll step aside for 30 seconds and be back here on the Dragon Sports Network. 33 seconds remain before the intermission. Harmony Grove 13, Junction City 0. It's the Hornets on top of the Dragons. And like we said earlier, Wayne, there's really 2 plays totaling 158 yards. It's kind of the sideline. I believe Harmony Grove might have been able to.
Another timeout by Harmony Grove.
And Harmony Grove's going to use their second 25-yard line. Hornets going to operate on the far hash. 22 seconds left. And Wayne, right now, I think if you're Junction City defensively, you gotta keep guys in front of you. You can't get beat on a double move. You gotta keep them in front of you, because if they, there come a time when you may need to man up on them late. But they are running down with just, I believe, scoreboard's not right, but I believe they just have 1 timeout left as far as Harmony Grove's concerned.
Yes.
So you want to keep them in bounds, but the main thing is you got to keep them in front of you.
And Jacob, like you said a while ago, they get the ball to start the second half. They score here and they're getting the ball to start the second half. You're in a hole you don't want to be in. And I was thinking, yes, they only have 1 timeout left.
Just 1 timeout for the Hornets. Second down and 15 from the 25. Johnson to throw, spot pass. And that is going to be caught and a touchdown. A touchdown. That one was bottled up twice, Titus Lockhart, but a good effort. And it's 20-0. Harmony Grove on. McCann with it teed up.
Good snap.
Good snap. It's down. It's going to be no good. Kicked it off toward the right. But the big story is the Hornets up 20-0 on Junction. See some heads kind of hanging, Wayne. I'll tell you what, they're going to need to draw something up in the halftime locker room. And really, when you look at it, it's been Junction City's fault. Lack of tackling, and then offensively, I mean, my goodness, you can't have 10, 11 fault.
And then stuff goes wrong. They had, like I said, you get an 8-9 yard gain, then you get a tackle for loss, then you get 2 penalties, and like I said earlier on, you blame some of this. Okay, we're knocking the rust off here. We got to get going. But after a while, right now, I guess it don't matter. But
as much again, that's a good ball, and you go to the ground, covered the cash. Maybe find the end zone here, Wayne. Stranger thing.
We got to regroup or
get to the sideline. Half City. We're going to step aside for 2 minutes. We'll be back with the halftime show here from. Actually, they're bringing. Hold on. The fact that they may have had a couple more seconds to
look. And
the official made the movement to keep the clock running.
Yeah.
It wasn't a first down.
Seconds left on penalty.
Their last.
Okay.
He's coaching staff, obviously, an A program.
So he called the timeout there. I mean, this man, he knows us. And we got a title.
A little bit of, and so the Hornets are going to deploy certainly a prevent defense. They've got 1 man back deep, and they've got 2 deep safeties, 4 guys playing in the middle of the field. They're going to dump it off. That's DeBose, and he'll pick up a solid gain, but that won't do it. As it's officially halftime here from Bill Manning Field. 19-0 is our score. Camden Harmony Grove over Junction City. 2 quarters left to play. We're going to step aside for 2 minutes. Be back with the halftime show here on Dragon Sports Network.
We're back at Bill Manning Field. It is halftime. Harmony Grove 19, Junction City nothing. And I don't know if there's really much we can say about stats, but Jacob, you're looking at the stats right now. Talk to us about it and tell us what's going on.
Yeah, Wayne, looking at the team stats, looking at the comparison offensively, Junction City with 132 yards on 33 plays averages out to about 4 yards a play, which is, when you start thinking about, first game of the season, first half of the season, that's respectable. But then you add in the 11 false start penalties that they've had over the first 3.5, 4 offensive drives of the game. It's been really detrimental to their success on offense. But Camden Harmony Grove, they have ran 19 less plays offensively than the Dragons, and they have gathered up 72 more yards. They're averaging 14.6 yards per play, and obviously, Wayne, that's a little bit inflated because you start thinking about the 86-yard play, the 72-yard play, and that's a little bit of the reason why those numbers look the way they do. But that's why the scoreboard looks the way it does. 19-0 at the break. Rushing attempts 21 for Junction City, 4.3 a carry, just 9 for the Hornets, but they've got 18.6 on the ground. Penalties, Junction City with 10 for 60 yards. Camden Harmony Grove, this is really the difference right here in the game, fellas. 10 penalties for 60 yards, 1 penalty for 5 yards. Look at the time of possession. 18:54 Junction City's had the football. Camden Harmony Grove, 4 minutes and 52 seconds, and they lead by 3 possessions. That's just crazy.
Well, Jacob, like you said, you go back, you take away, and this is what you always do. People look at a game and you're analyzing all that good stuff. You take away 2 plays, 158 yards, and you cut these blame penalties in half, and you got a decent ball game going on. Junction has been their own worst enemy. They're going to have to be able to sustain blocks on the offensive line. That's one thing we're already noticing. And, maybe another thing you look at is opening up the passing game just a little bit more to give the backs room. Ivory, Johnson, I think they ran Mendoza a couple times. Give them a little chance to operate. You're going to Corey a lot on the outside there with the little short passes. Maybe you can work them down the field a little more. And something we talked about last year with Cam Frazier, getting him used to, because he came out for football this senior year, well, they got another basketball player that's come out, and that's Ryan Allen. And Allen has shown a lot of potential as a receiver. He's got speed, he's got the hands, but you got to get him the ball. If that means bringing him back and running shorter routes or something instead of some go routes down the side, then you do it. I'm sure, though, this coaching staff of Junction Cities, they're already at work on it, and Smith and company will come up with something.
When you talk about the passing game, and they've completed 8 passes, 7 of them have went to DeBose. So obviously they know that he's a threat on the outside. So you're going to have some other guys step up and start to create just a little bit of thought in the mind. You go, okay, they can go to this guy, they can go to this guy. But when you're, your main target, now credit to Bose, it's not only that they're targeting him, he's making the catches. He's got 7 catches for 37 yards, 5.3 a pop. Obviously the offensive leaders for Junction City on the ground, A.J. Ivory, 8 carries for 44 yards, had 5.5. But the big, really we can dive up into all these numbers for the rest of the night if we wanted to. But the big difference, Wayne, it's 19-0.
Absolutely. And, I mean, right now, I tell you what, Jake, I'm going to put you on the spot. You're Brad Smith. What do you do? What do you tell your team?
Well, I think you go in there at the beginning and I don't know if this is necessarily a, jump some tail moment, so to speak, if you know what I'm getting at. I think it's you go in there and say, guys, settle down. You're hurt. I mean, credit Harmony Grove. They had the big run. They had the quarterback run. Granted, we had him bottled up. He made a man miss. He was off to the races, had the angles on the guys on the backside of the secondary. I mean, that's football. That's football. You see it every Sunday. You see it every Saturday. You see it every day in the week when somebody's playing.
Absolutely.
But what you usually don't see are 8 or 9 false start penalties right out of the gate that just, I mean, and this is after you've had success offensively. You find yourself just, you're basically just shooting yourself in the foot is what it comes down to. So you go in there and you say, hey, look, first things first, you got to get a stop on defense. We've seen Junction City force a turnover. We've seen them force Harmony Grove to play behind the chains tonight. It's been 2 or 3 big plays that have been the difference. So you should be confident on the defensive side of the football. But you got to do your job. You can't do somebody else's job. You got to do your job. First things first, got to get a stop on defense. Then you look on the offensive side of things, you got to find the end zone. I think both of those things have to happen here very soon coming out of the break. They got to get the stop and they got to score on their first possession. If they can do that, I think they've got a chance to make this a little bit of a different ballgame.
Absolutely. And, of course, the big key thing is, like you said, coming out and getting a stop. Defense has got to come out and do what they've got to do. That defensive line has shown that they can be capable of taking over a game. I mean, you watch them, and early on they were really not only collapsing the pocket down on Johnson, they were sealing off any escape for him to even try to dump a pass off. Then a couple of breaks, the two big plays like you talked about, the 158 yards. But other than that, if you take away those two and leave the penalties like they are, but just take away those two plays, this defense has done its job. They had two slip-ups that cost them. But by the same token, the offense, the first two drives, right off the bat on first down, you got really good plays. One of them was, I want to say 11 or 14 yards.
It went 14 and then it went 11. Yeah.
It went 11. Okay, then you come back and you have a tackle for a loss on you. And then you have penalties. On both of those possessions that happened. The third possession, they actually moved the ball, and I think you made a comment from 20 to 20, they looked good. But they got on down and end up, nothing comes of it. And then I think the first big play happened right after that.
Well, talking about Harmony Grove, if you take away the 158 on two plays, obviously that'll take 13 points off the board. It'd be a 6-0 ball game. But when you're just strictly looking at the numbers, you take away two plays for 158 yards, you're looking at Harmony Grove having ran just 12 plays for 46 yards, which ends up being around 4 yards a play, which guess what?
Yeah.
That's what Junction City's averaging tonight. So really it's been the big plays by the Hornets and Junction City hurting themselves with penalties in the first half.
Absolutely. And, I'm sure Smith and company, they're going to get in there and they're going to talk about that. And then, the first thing you got to do, we got to start digging out of this hole. And he's going to look at the senior and say, okay, to achieve what you want to achieve this year, we got to come back out here to the second half and play Dragon football. We got to play Junction City football, guys. We did not do it at the time in this first half, and it shows. And that's the first thing they got to do. And it'll be interesting to see what happens when they do get back out here.
And one more thing to add here, regardless of the outcome of the game, when you come back out here to play the final two quarters, you got to show some grit. You got to show some grit. You got to show some fight, regardless of how this one ends up. Whether it ends up in your favor and you make a comeback that we'll be talking about of season openers for years to come, or if you end up falling coming up short, at least show some grit, show some fight. Don't just throw in the towel. Too much of a foundation has been laid before you to just throw it in that easy and to do it like that here in the season opener. So it'll be interesting to see how Junction City responds. One thing we've talked about, I guess, kind of, or the things you've heard about the team, talking to Coach Smith about them, it's been the defense. The defense has been the kind of the calling card. They looked real good in the scrimmage against Hamburg. Take away two plays, it's a 6-0 ball game. So you're going to call on them here early. They got to get a stop coming out of the break, and if they can, who knows? This one can turn out a little bit differently.
Absolutely. Well, we will see in about 6 minutes and 15 seconds. That's what's remaining here at halftime. And before we go to break, let me do something real quick, and then we're going to go to our scoreboard real quick and get some scores. But let me talk about some people that you need to know about. And that is the 21 advertisers for the Dragon Sports Network. That is the most we've ever had. We're proud to have them all on board. And let's start with El Dorado Chemical. They're the title sponsor of Dragon Football. They also had the broadcast booth named after them at Paul H. Muse Field. Ameriprise Financial is the presenter of Dragon Football Coaches Show with Brad Smith. Our Wall of Honor presenter, Langs's. Clean Harbors, the game night presenter. We're proud to have all of these on board. And this year, a new one, our scoreboard presenter is the United Steel Workers. They also have, and we're fixing to hear one here in a minute, scoreboard update by the United Steel Workers. Terminex, the AAA report presenter. And we're proud to have all of them, but one that is very special to us, the Kevin Norris Memorial by Jan Norris Pepper, Allison Sweet, and April Acock. And Miss Jan, I can tell you and your family now, thank you again from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for all you do for us. Union County Merchants, Union Kennel and Farm Supply, Hog Wild Pest Control, Old Town Store, Walmart, Subway, ATS Logistics, LLC, Apache Industrial Services. They also have the booth in the Dragon Arena built by Apache, and they did a great job with it, if I can ever get that out right. 101.5 The Hog, which you'll hear Junction City football on this year with Noel Mark Broadcasting. Our border town businesses, Kim's Hair Salon, Junction City Florist, Gonzalez Mexican Restaurant, E&T Restaurant and Grill, Cups Lawn Care, and First Baptist Church of Junction City. We're proud to have them all on board with us this year, the most we've ever had, and we hope that the second half turns out like we wanted and we have a great year of football. And the reason we're able to do all this is because of these fine people. We're going to step away for 2 minutes. When we come back, we'll be getting ready for the second half here from Bill Manning Field in Harmony Grove. You're watching Junction City football on the DSN. Back in 2 minutes. A little under 2 minutes remaining till the start of the second half. Let's go to the USW scoreboard, and Denton, give us some updates.
Yeah, Wayne, we've got going here Fayetteville 35, Conway 24. That's at halftime. We got Sheridan 0, Whitehall 38 at halftime. Stuttgart 26, DeWitt 6, Camden Fairview 27, Arkadelphia 14. Ooh. These games I'm stating here are all at halftime here. Let's see here. Hampton 0, Center Point 35.
Oh, say that again.
That would be Center Point 35, Hampton 0.
Goodness gracious.
Genoa Central 7, Poen 0. Hazen 12, McCroy 10. Desart 44, Palestine 0. Gurdon 32, Lafayette County 12. And I've got an update here, Wayne. Rising 14, Fordyce 16.
Got a good one going on there. And you said Camden Fairview winning. That's good to see them right now at the moment. They're up 27-14. Devin Ball, defensive coordinator there, and Jacob. Two more old boys, Will Houston and Keandre Evans, former Dragons on that staff. Next Thursday night, ladies and gentlemen, we will be in Camden for the Camden El Dorado matchup. Two more former Dragons with El Dorado, Stephen Jones, the head coach, and Byron Jones coaching the linemen. We are about set to go here to Junction City on the field. And I believe, more than likely, Jake, I'm going to guess they're going to put a little bit more time on the clock. I'm waiting to see what they're going to do. They may not, but usually they put about another 2 or 3 minutes up there. See what the officials are going to do. And they put 30 minutes up there. And I'm waiting to see here the officials. Here we go. They're going to put 3 more minutes up there. And I'm going to pull Denton back in here. You said that was Fordyce 16, Rising 14?
That's correct.
Okay, so the interesting there, Jacob, and the one that really caught my attention, because people had talked about Poyen, but we kept saying, well, they lost a good bit. And not knocking Genoa Central, they haven't not been that strong lately, but they're up on Poyen 7-0. And, of course, like we said, Hampton taking it on the chin, and a Bigelow 41, Bearden 7. I'd heard that one earlier and made a little note of it here, Denton, on our USW scoreboard, or I'll let you say it correctly there.
USW Local 13-434.
And we are proud to have them on board with us this year on the DSN.
They got another one here that they were talking about. Pulaski Academy 53, Robinson 14.
Joe T. Robinson?
I believe
Yes, sir.
that's who they were playing, yes. If
Yeah.
I heard that correct on the radio.
Holy cow.
Yes.
Not that there's another one. I'm just kind of surprised that, there's a lot going there. I mean, obviously Joe T plays in that vaunted the 8-4A.
Yep. Very tough conference.
Yeah, CrossFit 26, Osceola 14.
And keep in mind, Kevin Kelly is at, where is that at?
Presbyterian.
Presbyterian. Yeah. He's now coaching there. And former Razorback great Anthony Lucas took over the PA program.
And it doesn't look like PA skipping a beat, at least in the early going.
No, it don't. 53-14.
Maybe I called it right that Fayetteville, I studied that a while ago, 35, Conway 24. So maybe Casey Dix got them turned around.
And a little bit of put some points on the board there. Is that a halftime score, Denton?
Yes.
Okay. The second half, and as we get ready, we're going to step away for 30 seconds, and we'll be back with the second half kickoff. Junction City football here on the DSN. Second half, folks, but we debated the aggravating start to say.
Not to beat a dead horse, so to speak, but we talked about it. They've got to get a stop here defensively. Because if you look up and you find yourself down 26, 25, nothing when you're getting the ball back, you've on offense. You've shown you can move the ball.
We talked about it. You take away the 2 big plays. Defense has done great, except for those 2 plays there. And sometimes that's just football. Comes with her. Take care of business. On the offensive side, be safe.
Kick, it's going to be picked up inside the 5. And a nice job there on special teams. That's what Junction City needed to be able to start on special teams. Instead of the corner kick, he ended up 5 there, Wayne. That was pretty impressive.
You like that. It eliminated the return pretty quick because it allowed your guys to kind of keep the wall down there on them and seal them off.
And so now Harmony Grove first down and 10, 11:43 to play here in the third quarter. They'll have it from their own 15-yard line. They'll operate out of the pistol, different look. We didn't see this in the first half. And it's going to be a little bit of a misdirection, and that's going to be tripped.
It was nothing but looking like real estate in front of them.
All right, so it's going to be a first down carry that'll move the football up to the 25-yard line. So a gain of 10. Clock moves under an 11.5 here. First drive of the game second half, for Harmony Grove. And Johnson, a little miscommunication in the backfield. He's going to be wrapped up and dropped. That's a good play there by the Dragon defense. Not fooled there.
Be a loss of about 3, Jacob. So put them back behind chains. Actually, let's say 4. And right now, you would love to see a turnover forced to try to get yourself in some good field position, see if you can put a quick score in there. And that's what the Dragons need more than anything.
Hornets break the huddle. A little bit of a different look here. They're actually going to 2 upbacks to the left of the formation. Going to keep it more in tight than we've seen. Johnson to throw. Drops over the middle, and the pass is caught. And it's going to be a foot race. That's Lockhart, I believe. Garrett, and he's off and running. And that is 6 more for Harmony Grove at the 10:26 mark. He went right across the middle. He was pretty fearless right there. Had a guy from the safety spot with a chance to lay the boom on him and just basically kind of whiffed there. And I tell you what, a lot of skill players with some speed for the Hornets, and definitely it was Garrett there showing off the speed there. We saw that on the interception return. He's got some shifty moves, but nothing shifty about that. He just turned on the old afterburners and went after it.
Absolutely. And Jacob, give him credit. Beautiful pass by Johnson. I mean, he put it right out there.
Yeah, it was. And it was relatively good coverage for Junction City.
Yeah.
It's just right after the catch, the one man that you needed to bring him down, he wasn't in position to do that. And it was, like I said, and now they're going to go for 2 here to try to get it back closer to that 28. And they're going to get in there easily. Just about untouched. That's Hicks taking it in on the direct snap. Timeout on the field, 10:26 to play here in the third quarter. Not looking good for the Dragons. 27-0 is our score. Harmony Grove on top of Junction City, back in 30 on the Dragon Sports Network. Got it.
10:26 remaining third quarter. Harmony Grove now up 27-0. And the Dragons, Jacob, you can't dig the hole much deeper, can you?
I don't know if there's much dirt left down there.
Oh, my goodness. We're either going to run into China or we're going to run into water, one or the other. I'm not sure which.
10:26 to play, 27-0 is our score. You got to shift your focus here. You got to find the end zone, and that's a line drive kick. It's going to be fielded by DeBose at around the 15-yard line. He's going to maneuver back to the Junction City sideline and nowhere to go, and he lost the football. But I think he was able to come back with it. And so a bad situation almost just became absolutely devastating had DeBose coughed it up and given it back to the Hornets inside the Junction City 25, but luckily that didn't happen. The Dragons have it offensively with 10:15 to play here in the third quarter.
You need points. That's just the bottom line. Like you said, you got to find the end zone, and if it takes you a while to get there, then it takes a while to get there.
Yeah, that's right.
You just got to get some points.
You got to get on the scoreboard. You got the athletes to do it. Going to need some protection up front. DeBoe's going to work out of the shotgun. Ball's on the ground, and I believe Harmony Grove's going to come up with it. And so Dragons turn it over the first time they touch it here in the second half. And they've got the football, and that's going to just make Harmony Grove even more excited on that far side of the field. And again, Junction City behind the 8 ball here, down 27-0. They're going to need it's definitely going to have to be the bend but don't break, Wayne. And I tell you what, I can't remember what was the pass there on the previous touchdown. That at least went for 70 plus, right? So you've got 3 plays of 70 or more yards that have went for scores.
Jacob, I'll go ahead and say 75 more. No, you had the one with 72. I'm going to say that one was about 75.
I think it was, because it was from the 25. That's right, it was from the 25 as Johnson rolls out. He's going to throw back across, and it is, I don't know, he might have trapped it, and not getting that call in Ouachita County tonight. Nice play there going to the ground to grab it. Not sure of the that's the brother to brother, the younger brother finding the older brother for 6 points. And Wayne, we are a 2-point conversion away from a mercy rule.
And I did not think you would say that tonight. It is unbelievable.
9:58 to play third quarter. When it rains, it pours, and it is absolutely a monsoon for Junction City right now. And a little bit of a trickeration here. And a good job there. Good job by Jamal Johnson. Playing with a little pride out there like that Dragons means something across the chest. Able to bring him down. So the clock will not start for the continuous on the mercy rule, but it is 33-0. The Dragons with a lot of work to do. Going to have to find the end zone. Football, protection up front. You know, I mean, it kind of starting to go on and on here, but they've proven tonight that they can do that.
If you're the quality control coach for the Dragons and you're sitting here going, okay, oh boy, this is a long list. But the first thing you got to do, and we said, is find the end zone. I mean, nobody hit on the fumble. Nobody hit them. Just flat out drop the ball. And maybe on the backside somebody got a little bit of – I didn't see it, but it might could have got a little bit of a hand in there. I don't know. But irregardless, you got to get on the scoreboard and start working your way back. You ain't talking about making a big comeback. Right now you just got to take some steps and start showing, hey, we can do some stuff. We can get some stuff done. First thing being get that goose egg off the board.
It's going to be a deep kick. It'll be fielded by Johnson inside his 15-yard line. Excuse me, that's Ivory. No, that's Johnson. I apologize. That's Johnson. And he'll get up across the 25-yard line, get what he can. I believe they may spot him, Wayne. I believe that's going to be the 28, where it looks like the near side official is going to walk the ball out, and that's where Junction City's got it.
Yep. They're going to start from the 28. 9:47 remaining third quarter. And Junction City found themselves in a hole at halftime. It just got a lot deeper.
It was a 19-0 ball game, and then you come out, and 2 minutes and 13 seconds later, you're down 33-0. Yeah, that's going to be straight ahead. That's going to be Johnson. That's a good gain there on first down and 10. We'll give him 8 here from the press box. 2nd and 2 coming up as he moves across the 35-yard line. Mark him up to the, we'll say just shy of the 37. Clock will move under 9.5 to play.
And that's a good start on first down. You pick up some positive yardage, and you just keep building. And that's what you got to do. You got to show that, hey, we can get some stuff going positively.
And they're going to give to Ivory. I don't know why Ivory's trying to cut it back up. Just take the outside. Ball's been stripped, and that's going to be DeBose, and he lost it. And now it's going to be Harmony Grove football as they recover it at the, I believe it's going to be around midfield. It's probably going to.
Their own worst enemy.
Had positive yards there. And then they lost the ball, and then DeBose was able to recover, and it was actually going to be about 6 more yards than it would have been, and then he lost it. And so 2 opportunities there, and nothing comes away with the tourniquet. And that'll help. That'll definitely. Not too many sophomores on the roster for Junction City. I believe I count just 8. Just 8 sophomores on the roster for Junction City.
I was trying to remember how many they.
Which is almost a third of the roster. Dragons one of their snap fielded. That's going to get in there on the stop. So 3rd down and long. Ball's going to be moved back across the 45-yard line of the Hornets. Actually going to spot it at the 44 off the far hash. Clock will move under 8 minutes before the next snap.
You want to stop here, get the ball back. And like we said, first thing we're working on is getting the goose egg off the board. Get the stop here.
Johnson's going to look left, and he's going to throw it up left, and it is incomplete behind the defense. I believe that was, not sure what number. Is that 10? They got behind the defense. Yeah. Gabe Johnson, the older brother of the quarterback, Caleb, caught the touchdown pass on the previous drive. He was behind the defense. But the younger brother just a little too much oomph on that one, and fortunately for the Dragons, that was the case.
Because if it hadn't been, it was a touchdown.
And now it's 4th down, and I believe this is going to be the first time. I believe it's the first time tonight they've punted, Wayne.
I believe you're correct.
And as a high snap almost over Johnson's head, it's going to be an end-over-end punt fielded by DeBose at the 20-yard line. And he's going to take it up the right side. And I'll tell you what, I'll credit the near side back official here. He was reaching that right hand.
I thought it was coming.
He was wanting to throw, but I mean you could tell Allen was doing his best to lay off.
Yeah.
To lay off the defender, more so just shielding him from DeBose.
And I think that's what saved the day there, because he was reaching, but he noticed Allen was making the effort not to just go ahead and pop him a little bit.
7:34 to play, third quarter action. Junction City with a lot of work to do. Ivory's going to get the carry, and 11 from the Junction City 43-yard line. Clock's going to move on. And direct snap all the way to the 41. That's going to be a first down carry for Jay Johnson as the clock stops momentarily at 6:42 to play. Reset the chains. We've seen it, Wayne. We've seen bursts of positivity on the ground game for Junction City. It's just they've been unable to string anything together. Hopefully this is the drive where they figure it out.
Absolutely. And, Jacob, you go back, you look at some of the plays Corey DeBose made. There's positives there. It's just right now there's some things they have got to get straight. Turnovers to boot, and then turnovers here in the second half. That's why you find yourself down 33-zip. But there are things to work on. I mean, this ain't the end of the world. You got to go back to the drawing board and say, okay, we're going to run the ball. We have got to block. And we're going to have to throw a little bit better than what we're doing. And it's things that can be corrected, no doubt about it.
Johnson to throw off a back foot. He's got a man. It was Allen, but he had a man in his face immediately. He had nowhere to go. He had to get rid of it. Might have been a little miscommunication up front, blocking assignment. Either that or it was a late blitz from McCann. I think he might have come from middle linebacker position. Showed in Johnson early. The guy that had a chance was out of maybe a yard and a half. Should bring up 4 and a long 4. Here's the clock's under 6 minutes to play. Score currently not a factor. The Dragons look to the sideline. It's certainly 4-down territory from here until the end of the ball game.
No doubt about it.
Johnson out of the shotgun. 2 receivers to the low, and Junction City's going
to move the ball some. They showed what they can do, but they just didn't finish. And maybe you saw some of that factor in the Hamburg scrimmage. They had 3 scoring opportunities inside the 10 and came away with nothing. They did score 21 against Hamburg.
First, Johnson checking in. Now, guy.
Nope.
Gonna have to because he's flashing the backfield. Dragons have unfortunately seen a fair share of the backside of their jerseys tonight.
They have.
As Caleb Johnson's.
And Jacob, go back and look at the 33 points Grove has put up. And it didn't come off of long drives. It didn't come off a drive where they just took the ball.
Ball's on the ground, and it's still on the ground. I think Junction City might have come away with it.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. Dragon ball, so they're going to take over, what, 45?
So the Dragons will take over in Harmony Grove territory. That's a positive for that Dragon defense. Wayne, I'll tell you this. Let me tell you a couple of, I guess, bullet points that are truths to this game.
Let's hear
The Dragon defense has forced 2 turnovers. The Junction City offense has ran more plays offensively than Camden Harmony Grove. And you look at the scoreboard and you see the difference. It's been the big plays and the penalties.
And let me stop you there. If you tell me those 2 things, we're in the game, we're taking care of business. Yeah. It goes back to what I'm saying. There are positives. It's just big plays have hurt them. And Harmony Grove's got some weapons that have stung the Dragons tonight, no pun intended there. But by the same token, you see a play like this right here that develops and it picks up 6, 7, 8 yards. Junction can run the ball, there's no doubt. The line's going to have to step it up a little bit more. Now, I'm sure they're capable of doing it. And let's also remind ourselves, first game of the season, but we're going to have to be able to throw some.
Yeah.
We're going to have to take some pressure off the running game just a little bit. I ain't talking about 15, 20 passes a game. Maybe 8, 10, 12, something like that. I don't know, but just to throw a little bit. Corey DeBoe has caught 7 passes, but most of them been up close, little bubble plays, and he's made something happen with them. He's getting about 6 yards because a lot of them he's caught behind the line of scrimmage, like I said, a little bubble, and he's made some stuff happen, and he's very elusive. The Dragons work on that and get it going, they're going to be okay. The problems they got right now, and they're very fixable, is you got to look at those penalties in that first half and go, okay, guys, we put ourselves in a hole, and then we didn't help ourselves with the turnovers in the second half. We straighten that out, we're going to be fine.
Big run there by Jay Johnson. He moves the ball down inside the purple zone and then stopped there on the give to Ivory. Excuse me, that was Johnson again. I apologize. Johnson on the carry. Back-to-back carries for Jay. Clock's going to move under 3.5 to play here in the third quarter. Mendoza will check in for Johnson. Now DeBoe's back in at quarterback. Mendoza to his right. They fake to him. Now DeBose is going to keep it. He'll work the left side. Nowhere to go. That was a good angle there by Daniel Hill. He's been all over the field tonight for Camden Harmony Grove. Clock continues to run. Going to be down around 2.5 minutes before this next snap. And we've seen Junction City. We've kind of a tale of two teams on third downs for the Dragons. We've seen a stretch there where they were able to convert several third downs in a row on multiple drives, and there's been times where they just find themselves behind the chains and not much going for them. Hopefully it's the former here on this one as they give to Ivory, and it's going to be the latter as he's bottled up and nowhere to go. Long whistles here in Ouachita County as the clock's going to near the 2-minute mark here in the third quarter.
Jay Johnson checking in. It's 4th down, and no doubt about it, you're going to see what you can get here. They got to pick up 12.
Number 79, Walker Sweat.
And it's going to be a pop-out pass. That's going to be DeBose. He could not get a block out there on the edge. He might have had something, but too many guys converged on DeBose quickly. He made a man miss, but he had two more waiting for him. And Junction City turns it over on downs with 1:34 to play here in the third quarter. 33-0 is our score.
And we got a couple new jerseys in there, don't we, Jacob?
I believe so. That's another thing I was about to say. You're starting to see a little bit of wear and tear on the Dragons. And I honestly don't think it's a conditioning thing. It's just the fact that there's not as much depth as there has been in years past. You're certainly going to wear a little bit more when you find yourself out there, especially in the early part of the season. And we got whistles, timeout called by the Hornets. They'll talk things over. And we will step aside for 30 seconds. 1:34 to play in the third quarter. 33-0. Harmony Grove over Junction City back in 30 on the Dragon Sports Network.
.134 remaining in the third period. Harmony Grove calling a timeout. Hornets in control, 33-zip. Junction City once again had a list of things to work on, but there are positives. And one thing we failed to mention, there is a guy that's in charge of this program that can get it straightened out, and that's Brad Smith.
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean,
no doubt about it.
At the end of the day, you're not trying to make excuses for your bunch, but it is game one. It is the first game of the season, week 0. As Hill gets the carry, he'll work the right side. And Harmony Grove definitely trying to add to that 33 points, and they will. That's going to be Hill down the right sideline or more yards tonight that have resulted. And I believe that's the first time we've heard that with Junction City on the other side since probably the 2010 campaign. That's right,
that would be
2010 campaign.
And here's something ironic. That was the night Coach Carpenter was ejected, but the previous game at Strong. And Brad Smith stepped in and handled it that night. Of course, that was a rebuilding year, no doubt, and that team turned around and ended up advancing to the second round of the state playoffs. You know, we did the game on the radio when they went back to Bearden, played a lot better.
Played them a lot closer. Yeah,
played them a lot closer.
We
lost, but, you know, you saw positives. And right now for Junction, this is going to sting and it's going to hurt. It could be a positive, though, if they can take from it. And,
for sure. You can go one or two ways from here.
Yep. There's no doubt.
You can go one or two ways from here. And hopefully Junction will definitely choose to continue fighting and moving forward. A lot of season left. And in fact, there's obviously a lot of opportunity left in this one to continue to do things the right way, right? Because it all plays off of each other.
Yep.
If you can finish strong, you can carry that into next week. If you choose not to, choose to lay down, then hey, who knows? You're probably going to come out next week and not necessarily be as sharp as you could have been had you taken the fourth quarter serious. And that's not to say they won't, but I'm just saying there are certainly two ways this thing can go.
And if you're the seniors on this team, and I tell you what, I'll finish that thought when we come back. That is the end of the third period. We're going to step away for 60 seconds. You're watching Junction City football on DSE. about set to start the fourth quarter here from Bill Manning Field in Harmony Grove. The Hornets up 39-zip on the Dragons, Junction City. The news, I guess, for the moment, first time since 2010, they are facing a mercy rule. The clock it'll start up here and start running soon right after the kickoff. For the Dragons, we talked about it a while ago, and we've kind of stopped our thought while we went to break. You got a lot to look at here in the fourth quarter. You want to see what you're made of a little bit and start, hey, we got to come out here and at least play positive and make some things happen and get the goose egg off the board for one and show that, hey, we got a solid team. We're going to be all right. And you talked about it, Jake. You touched on it. It's how you finish. Finish it up strong and go from there. This doesn't hurt you in the conference courts, the non-conference games, all the stuff you expect somebody to say.
Sure.
But you got to still look at that and go, okay, what do we do to get better? And one of the things is got to cut out the penalties. We dug ourselves a hole with those penalties in the first half. We also talked about at halftime, 2 big plays was the difference, really, besides the penalties. And then turnovers and a couple big plays. And the next thing you know, it's 33-zip. Now it's 39-zip.
Man, Johnson's going to fake that, and he had him. He had him, and he knew he did as he was trying to bring the football back in. He had Smith, and Smith, with his speed and quickness, he could have certainly been off for the races. Not saying he would have scored, but it would have been a big gain.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that's the stuff that eventually gets worked out. Eventually, with more repetition, you'll find yourself being able to understand the defenses and see what was there, because that would have been a nice play if they could have put that one together.
And that's the thing about it, Jacob. You look at all the stuff going on. You look, okay, we're missing out on some plays. We're that close to breaking one. We get a few positive plays, and there's a tackle for loss. All this stuff we're talking about is very doable, very fixable. And going back to what we said, you got the man in charge that can take care of it, and I believe when they get in there Monday, and he's going to talk to them tonight. He is. He's got some stuff he's going to say. And then the staff will be together Sunday to start laying out the plan for Smackover. And I guarantee you come Monday,
they'll be ready to go. That's it.
Let's go to work.
You got to flush it, and you got to keep moving forward. And
yeah,
that's football, man. Sometimes you're on the good end of it. Sometimes you're not. That's just part of it. Low snap. Johnson, he bullets it over to Smith. That's incomplete. That one ends up a little bit better than it was looking like it was headed. Johnson was able to pick up the low snap, and pass was incomplete, and actually probably does the Dragons a favor that it was incomplete. It'll keep it at 4th and 4 as opposed to probably what would have amounted to about a 4th and 6.
Yeah, they've been about a 2 or 3 yard loss on the pass play.
The clock's going to move under 9.5 again, nonstop clock. Just the second time in program history that the Dragons have been mercy ruled.
Yep. You went 11 years before well, let's say 10.5 before it happened again.
And they're going to have to punt. Norman, plenty of time and a good boot there. Going to be fair caught at the 44-yard line. And the Hornets will come out on offense as the clock's going to move under 9 minutes to play. And it'll be interesting to see what Coach Horskamp does right here. I think there's probably going to be some respect. Certainly some respects the Dragons staff as they do their opponent on the far side of the field. I certainly don't expect them to just stop. I mean, you got to run your base offenses. That's the way I've always looked at it.
And Junction City, already, like I said, we mentioned it a while ago, and they're doing it now. Some substitution going on. And it's a good way, and Harmony Grove's done the same thing. New quarterback in the game, Jacob. Or they may be running some stuff just to get it on film to get a good look at it.
Probably. So that's Jermaine Edwards, senior.
Senior.
In at quarterback now. That was Norman on the stop. So a gain of about 4. 2nd down and 6. Clock's going to move under 8 minutes here before the next Hornet snap. Big thing for Junction City is you'd like to find a way to get on the scoreboard. I think that would just go a long way if you can find a way to put some points. And good way to rally to the football. And we got a flag there late. Not real sure what, maybe a face mask penalty. It's hard to tell.
Yeah,
that's what they're going to call. They're going to call face mask penalty. So you hate to see that. That's going to reset the chains for the Hornets. It's going to move them It's going to solidify them across the field into Dragon territory.
They're going to call it incidental.
Yeah, just a 5-yard face mask.
Let's go to the USW scoreboard real quick. Denton, what you got for us there on Poland and Genoa Central?
Poland 12, Genoa Central 7, Fordyce 20, Rising 16.
Ooh. Talk about a rivalry. Talk about I guess you call it trophy game too, whatever you want to call it, Rising and Fordyce. Poland and Genoa Central, very interesting game. A lot of people said Poland was going to be pretty good shape this year. They built up a pretty solid, group and lost a good bit from last year, though, but they were going to be okay. But right now, having a hard time with Genoa Central.
I got a McCrory Hazen. McCrory 24, Hazen 12.
I think the McCrory bunch, and I don't want to be, I don't want it to be over, what do they call it, overestimate or whatever, here early when you've really only got like 3.5 quarters to show for. But I think McCrory is going to be one of those teams that you have to look out for, come the middle portion of the season, and obviously a team that could very well make a deep run.
We talked about, of course, on game night, talking about the changing of the classification, especially in 2A, what all was going on. And Denton touched on you're seeing it on all levels of football, even the SEC teams moving and all that. But as you look at the teams that are moving up to 3A, you say, well, who's going to still, if they keep AA intact, who's going to be the teams to deal with? Who's still going to be deal with? And I think that McCrory bunch is going to be one of them because they really showed. I mean, I was impressed with them that night up there. And Poland, that program they're building, what the foundation they're laying, I guess is what I'm trying to say. You look for them to be pretty tough. But right now, Junction got some work to do, and we know that. We've touched on that. But right now, you got to look at Desart and you got to look at Clarendon and Fordyce as the teams to deal with in AA right now.
You really do. I mean, obviously, the top 5, top 6 that you see around the rankings of Class 2A are kind of spot on, and they're there for a reason because it's kind of the usual suspects. And I expect this Junction team to be one of those teams that people have to look out for. I mean, obviously, I know around the state right now they're looking at the old updated scoreboards going, holy cow, because that's just not something that you see when you go check in on Junction on any given Friday night. But like I said, sometimes, I mean, you're kind of trying to find those words that once you say them, you're like, okay, yeah, But at the end of the day, it's football, man. Sometimes it goes your way, sometimes it doesn't. And let's be honest, this went Junction City's way a lot over the past however many years. So, it is going to be maybe a little uncomfortable for Dragon fans to have to see this one. But, hey, there's a lot more season to be played as Johnson fields the punt. He's going to get to the outside. Makes a man miss. Wayne, it looked like you about 30 years ago at the Pepper Hill. Yeah. The way he was moving right there on the sideline.
I had a flashback. Johnny Luter and the Caledonia Cat Daddy's jamming, and I made a move like that. Of course, I had to go to chiropractor next week, but that's beside the point. And
4:21, folks. It wouldn't be year 9 if we didn't find a way to get you a laugh toward the latter part of the ball game.
Absolutely, better to laugh than cry.
That's it. That's it.
But Junction, a couple of things they're going to look at, and I'm sure one of them is working on that offensive line some, and then of course you're going to have to probably reevaluate the passing game a little bit. But let's don't take away from Harmony Grove here. We talked about the big plays and all that. The Hornets had the weapons to make the big plays, and they showed it tonight.
They really did.
It's a solid little team, Coach Horsecamp's got, and they're going to have to be dealt with, down the road. It'll be interesting to see how they do.
Yeah, it will be. It will definitely be a team we're going to follow every Friday night from here on out. We want to see how well they do. And would you tell me if I told you there was another false start penalty?
I think we got a.
If I told you that, that's what it was. False start. It's going to back Junction City up. This will be 1st and 15 now.
Yeah, we got a little bit of the officials were keep an eye on one of the Junction players there, and I think they got that taken care of. A little bit of
a little misdirection here. Johnson makes a man miss. Still on his feet. I tell you what, he's running hard, Wayne. You got to give him credit. He's had his fair share of guys in his face tonight. But I tell you what, he's kept running the ball pretty hard.
about 2 plays back as far as him carrying the ball.
Yeah.
He had one where he put the forearm out there and he let them know I'm still here.
Yeah.
And you like to see that. You like to see a guy that's still playing aggressive. Yeah, you're down. You're going to lose this game. It's your start of your senior year, but you build on it.
You really do.
You build on it.
And they're going to give to, I believe that was Ivory on the carry on 3rd down. So bring up a 4th down here as the clock's at 2:16 and ticking. 39-0 is our score. That one's going to sting a little while. But you can't let it sting too long because you got to get ready for next week.
That's it. Next week, it's a home opener. You got the Buckaroos coming to town, Union County rivals, and probably next year going to be a conference opponent for Junction City.
That's right.
As we go to 3A.
And certainly not looking ahead, but it's worth noting that when that conference gets formed next year, you got to think it immediately becomes one of the premier conferences in the state, regardless of classification.
Well,
you start talking about the blue bloods that are going to be in that one.
Yeah, if it holds like they say, they're going to, Smith touched on this.
Still kind of rumoring, I guess.
It's more of a rumor right now, but it's leaning that way. Let me say it like that. But if it does happen, that's basically those 7AA East from 2000 to 2005-06 coming back, and they all know each other, And
no love lost between
There's no
most
love
of them.
lost between them, and it'll be fun to see.
1:15 to play. Probably just a couple more plays left. 4th down. And the Dragons are going to convert here. Johnson, he's still running hard. He's up to around the 45-yard line. Clock's going to move under 60 seconds. And it will continue to roll. Won't stop for the change, not with the mercy rule in effect. I'd like to see the Dragons find a way to punch one in, wouldn't you?
Yes, I'd like to get that one touchdown. At least
Ivory's going to get it. And he's going to run out of bounds, but not before he gains about 10, maybe 11. It'd be more they spot him. Actually going to give him 12. Okay, we'll give him 12. Down inside Hornet territory to the 44-yard line.
And we're down to this possibly, depending on how fast they want to do this here, could be the last play of the game.
That's it. And they're going to give to, I believe that is that Mendoza? Who is that?
I
it wasn't
so.
Smith. Smith was lined up out
in
formation.
It is Smith.
I don't know if Junction's going to get another.
That's it. That's going to be it. And that's your ball game.
That's going to do it. That'll do it.
Let's go ahead and we're going to head to our post-game show. Go ahead and give us a score, Jake.
The final from Bill Manning Field in the season opener. Junction City falls 39-0 to Class 3A number 10 Camden Harmony Grove. It was a tough one tonight for Junction City, Wayne. And I tell you what, there are some positives to draw from, but it's the negatives that they're really just glowing right now. As far as man, if you could cut those in half, it's even a different story.
Well, you just said it there. You cut them in half, it's a different story. But here's the bottom line. You get mercy rule. It's the first game of the season. And let's talk about the seniors a minute. Let's look at those seniors, and let's talk about something that they had did some interviews, I believe, with one of the Shreveport stations. They were talking about what they were looking for out of this year and all of that. Now, you can take it one of two ways. You can go in there, like you said, you can go out Monday, you can go to work. Let's start working on it. Let's get this better. Because this does not hurt you as far as conference, as far as playoffs, all of that. Yeah. What it does hurt is, we're in a hole, man. We got problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got some problems. It's stuff that can be fixed. But let's just say this. They got to show some fire. They got to show a little bit of fire.
Yeah.
They got to show they can block, and we're going to be able to throw the ball some. Defensively, there's some things that's got to be worked on. Overall, you take away the big plays, and it's not that bad of a game. But by the same token, let's give credit to this bunch from Ouachita County. Harmony Grove's got some big play weapons. I was talking with Brennan Cup before the game, and, he's number 1, number 8, Wayne. Hey, Dub, watch them two guys.
Well, I think you might need to add 14 to the ledger. And 10's proven he can play a little bit.
Yeah.
6 showed he's got some speed. So I think this is a bunch that, for the ones that were saying, they're ranked 10 in some polls. They're ranked 12 in another one.
Yep.
They're kind of around there in that top 10. Some thought they should be maybe 5 or 6 in the classification. Well, the ones that thought they should be 5 or 6, based on what we saw tonight, are starting to walk around with their chest out a little more because it's like, we told you so. Now, granted, it's still just 4 quarters of a season opener. There's a lot more ball to be played. But if you're Coach Horskamp and that bunch across the field right now, you got to be feeling good about yourself because, you put on a show tonight.
And indeed they did. That's a good way to put it. They put on a show, and a heck of a show. And right now Smith talking to his team. That bunch right there, I can promise you one thing, that coaching staff will go to work.
Oh,
They've been working already. They're going to go to work. They're going to get some stuff ready and straighten out, and they're going to come at you smack over with everything they got. Other than that, folks, there's not much to say. Didn't any scores for us or pretty much the same. I think we got Fordyce still on top of Rising. That's into the 4th quarter. Poland was up on Genoa Central. Camden Fairview 34, Arkadelphia 14, Bigelow 41, Bearden 7, and Hampton, I believe, was still trailing Center Point last. We saw 35-zip. I don't know if you had any fresh scores or if that was it. I believe that was it. Okay. For Jacob Pumphrey, for Denton Ashcraft, I'm Wayne Pumphrey. Everybody have a safe and wonderful weekend. And remember, you will see us next Thursday night from Camden, Arkansas for Camden, Fairview, and El Dorado. And then Friday night, we're in the border town for the opener. And, folks, if you get a chance, come out and support these guys. They need your support, need your encouragement. We got a lot of football left to play. Everyone have a blessed and wonderful weekend. We'll see you next Thursday, again in Ouachita County from Camden.
The following is a presentation of the Dragon Sports Network.